Damn, son, where'd you find this? Rock with your boys.
All right. You're looking live at Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. My name is Julian. I'm sorry, Julian. I tell you what, DJ, I tell you what, aka Julian, aka Jules. And I'm joined with my dad, my co-host. So you're looking at Gen to Gen, Cash Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks, also known as the Father and Son Cowboys podcast. You want to say what's up to the people? And let's jump off our Friday Night Live.
Yep, it's Friday night. Go ahead and do a show on Friday night because Saturday night it's gonna be kind of like a Mother's Day thing. So
Yeah. Shout out to all of the mothers, Cowboy fans out there. It's their weekend. All of the mothers in general. Shout out to the mothers.
yep,
Happy Mother's
yep.
Day. So I'll name the title the Cowboys New Additions. As you can see, I have on the thumbnail, I got Jaden Blue. I got I wish they had one with Tyler on there, Tyler Booker on there. But
Mm.
I got the rookies on there, Jaden Blue, Tyler Booker, Mafa. So we want to talk about them, and of course we want to talk about our new receiver, our new addition. Um, so George Pickens. We want to talk about that. George
So,
Pickens.
so what do you think about his press conference thing? So were you able to listen to it?
Nah, I read it. I didn't listen to it. So were
You
you
know
able to listen to it?
what was weird? I searched for it and really couldn't find it. Some people had it.
I don't think that it was broadcasted live.
Yeah, it was like just for the beat writers,
Yeah. So
and
I
it
just pulled
wasn't
up.
on Cowboys.com.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna do. They haven't done that yet. They probably will do that. But it'll probably be next week. I don't think he's here yet. They said he was gonna make it here this weekend. Now, I was looking at John Machota and Jane uh Jane Slater's Twitter. That's how I was seeing what was being said.
So what do you think about his comments?
Man, I think that his comments were perfect. He said everything he was supposed to say. I think that, he was really vilified in Pittsburgh. And then when you actually study and you actually but see when you're on the Cowboys, everything is broken down and everything is magnified. So, you know, he was in Pittsburgh and they were acting like he was just Antonio Brown or I mean Antonio and they were acting like he was AB or somebody. And they was acting like he was just, 10 times worse than T.O. and that he's worse than, that he's just a menace on the sideline. He's a menace to the locker room. But when you actually look at these things and break it down, you see that it was several receivers that had, let's see, I think like last year he had like four penalties against him. Uh, and there were like 15 or 16 receivers that had more penalties than him. And then you go back to 2 or 3 years ago when he entered the league, and it's constantly been like that. So his thing is just, uh, going up against the other team, getting in fights with the other team and stuff like that. Which to me, every NFL player does that. Some just go too far sometimes. And he one of them. But it's nothing to worry about. I don't think it's no big deal. At my point, at this time of me, like you asked me, what do I think about the comments that he made? I think he made the comments that he should have made, and I think those comments were true. I feel like he actually felt what he said. What he said, how he felt, and I feel like he's not going to be a problem at all when it comes to um, his um, his play. I don't think his behavior is going to be a problem at all either. My concern, my concern is what are they going to do when he comes in here? uh, and he really, really shows out, and he gets 1,200, 1,300 yards, and he has David Mulugeta, and we go
Who's gonna do?
the Cowboys.
Oh,
And when he deserves number one receiver money because he's going to probably have an All Pro year or a Pro Bowl year, being a number two receiver. Really, there is no number two receiver. He's just a good receiver. So my thing is, what are they going to do when he performs well? And he's the reason why we get over the top. He's the reason why we win more than one playoff game. When we can attribute him that to him in some form or fashion, what are they going to do then? Are they going to say, okay, well, let's give you 25 million a year, let's give you 30 million a year, let's give you 35? Well, are they going to do that? Because that's where is I think that Cowboy fans are going to be hurt if that doesn't happen.
well, I think we got a benchmark for it. So you got the Eagles receivers, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. So you can just use that for your benchmark where to show you it can be done. I can tell you right now what Steven and Jerry are gonna say if they do a press conference this week. They're gonna be asked if he was a 1 year rental, and they're both gonna say this. They're gonna say that if they thought he was a 1 year rental, they wouldn't have made the trade. They're gonna say that he's 24 years old. They're gonna say all of the right things, and then it's just gonna be uh, the off season. After this season, I predict they're gonna try to sign him. I don't think that they're gonna bring him in just for a rental, which is what everybody's gonna say that he's doing. I think he's gonna adapt to the locker room. I think Micah and Dak and CD are gonna have a lot to do with that. And so there was some people talking today that they're saying actually with David Mulugeta being his agent, it probably makes it easier for them to get a deal with him. So I just don't think they're gonna bring him in for a 1 year rental, and that's what they're gonna say. But they're gonna talk about that. So you heard it here first. They're gonna get asked that. That's the first couple of questions they're gonna get asked, and their answer is gonna be that's not what they brought him in for. He's a young guy, and they think he can grow with the team, and that's exactly what they're gonna say.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think that, like I said, it's not, to me, it's not fool's gold. You got Uncle Squeak just was saying something. He making the comments. So I
Yep.
say what's up to Unc.
What's up?
Um and tell Aunt Q happy Mother's Day. And then yeah, but yeah, like I was saying, I think that they are legit. No, everything that they are saying is legit. I don't think it's fool's gold. I think that he really is going to come in and he really is going to be, behave well. And I think he is, going to play to like he's in a contract year. I think he really will get to put us over the top. I think
Yeah.
all of these things that he's saying that he's going to do, and all the things that Jerry and Steven are saying. I believe it. I mean, it just makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean, this guy's he's one of those kind of players to where he's a difference maker. He really is.
And you remember, Micah and CD, they was trying to recruit Odell and they, took him to the Maverick game. Just think about that. That's what they're gonna be doing the whole season. It's just gonna be
Hmm.
them, getting this guy up to speed to the cowboy life. And they're gonna be talking to him about all of the reasons that if he decided he's not gonna re-sign here or don't sign here, it ain't gonna be because of their lack of trying to get him to stay. And so I do think that people need to kind of lower some of the expectations for him because our offense. I was chatting with some people today. I mean, you got the running situation. We're gonna talk about Blue here in a minute. Of course, you got CD, you got Ferguson, you got Turp. So you know, I don't know if 1,000 yards for him is gonna be just a slam dunk, but he can probably get the touchdowns and get the plays. It's all about really. It's just about him being involved. If he can just make those big plays, every game, and they go to him every game, I don't really think he's going to look at the yards and all of that. He's just
Nah.
going to look at, is he involved, which he's going to be. And then he's
Hmm.
just going to look at, what's happening overall team. So, I mean, I think that there was some breaking news today. I don't know if you saw it, but I think it was Nick Harris. Shout out to Nick. he broke the story that what it was. Well, it was one story that he broke. One of the stories he broke was that the Cowboys were talking to the Ravens about Rashad Bateman, and that was their other option that they were looking at doing. And then we also heard that during the draft, they were talking to the Steelers about a number 2 pick, and the Cowboys held off. So, we got to give them credit for just holding their cards. And I think Pickens is the better receiver out of him and Bateman. What do you think?
There's no question about it. There isn't any debate about that. No one would ever say that Bateman is better. And there ain't no
Yeah.
question. George Pickens is a receiver that is like, the closest I can compare him to is AB. You know what I mean? It's just like he's just a dominant force on the field, but he has his temperament or his maturity is the reason why it's a question mark above him. It's just like, how long is this guy gonna be in the league? But because of that. But once you get past all of that, and you got these athletes like CD is a superstar. Michael, they superstar. Dak is a superstar. Dak is one of the most wealthiest NFL players of probably in the league right now. Ain't nobody made no $600 million. Dak is almost up there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like $500 million, almost probably something like that. Close. I mean, what if he was to get every dime of his money that he's made in the NFL off his contract? What was his last contract worth? Like what was it? 200 million or something like that?
Who was that?
Dak.
Oh, I think was it 220?
Okay, and then his deal before that.
He's making 60. So
I mean, so he's a superstar. So when you got some of that, that's gonna rub off on George Edwards, because trust me, when him and CD is out and about, because that's what it's gonna be, because they've been locked in like that. You could see it. You can go back and you can look at their Instagrams. You can go back and you can
CD and Pickens.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
Google CD and Pickens, and you can see them on many pictures together years ago. They've
Yeah.
already
I
they've
mean,
already trained together and everything. So when you look at
yeah.
pictures like that, when he lock in, he gonna see. CD is one of them guys. He's a $1 million man. So that's gonna rub off on Pickens. Pickens gonna want that type of bread too, and CD is gonna encourage him to get that type of bread. So
Look,
this ain't gonna be nothing.
when he gets here to the Star and he sees, the layout, and not trying to throw the city of Pittsburgh under the bus, but when you go to the East Coast to cities like that, it just doesn't look like it does here.
We can throw them under the bus.
And so when he gets here and just kind of get exposed to the Star,
And the
the
lifestyle
$1 billion
here.
mile, just the city, it's impressive. So, I absolutely see them. It's going to be just a season of recruitment for him. And then, of course, Jerry's going to just pull him in the office by
Shout
himself.
out to you, Uncle Scott. He said, "Can they protect Dak?" Yeah, they absolutely can. Now, the question about that is, I mean, now we drafted a first round lineman in Tyler Booker. That he's a dog. So we got, really, to be honest, we got four.
The problem is the left tackle.
Yeah, we got four above average linemen on our team. The only problem that we have is our left tackle, and it's been on record that if he comes in pussyfooting around, he's not gonna be playing. They will make an emergency, pull something out of the hat to get a left tackle in there that can play. And that's the overall consensus. No one's gonna let him stay in there and ruin this team. This is not Jason Garrett, where you got one lineman that's messing up the whole thing and he just stays in the game. It don't work like that.
I think he got 4. I think he got 4 games.
I think he got training camp. You know what I mean? So he got training camp in preseason, or they will be making a move. And because these coaches, a lot of these coaches, like the lineman coach, for instance, and the offensive coordinator and Brian Schottenheimer, this is left tackle is tough on a rookie, but he's not a rookie anymore. You know what I mean? So, and then everyone told them not to draft this guy anyway. They knew that he was going to be a problem, and they still drafted him. So this is the thing, and they've missed left tackles way years ago. So here's the thing: they know that the overall consensus with him is that he has training camp, he has preseason, and they will be making a move. They already got some people that can fill in and play for him, but they're not gonna allow him to just
Well,
derail the whole offense like they would have done 2 or 3 years ago. This ain't that.
and you might be, onto something there because training camp for him, with he's gonna be going up against Micah, Dante Fowler, Nealon is gonna try to do his thing. You got the rookie Easy, is a Ruku, and it's somebody else. Oh, Sam.
Sam
So
Williams, yeah,
he gon' they're gonna line all of those guys up against him. He's gonna play a lot in preseason. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna just play him. Probably you're gonna probably see him play just halves a game. In preseason typically guys don't play a lot, but you're gonna see him play a lot because they they
yeah.
they don't get him ready. And here the bottom line is this: nobody's pulling against him.
Mm-mm.
If he ends up being good,
Yeah,
that's
great.
great. So,
Yeah.
but he gonna have to do it, and we're gonna just see what he got. Nobody's seen him. That's one of the things that a lot of the content creators are talking about.
And I like that fact that nobody's seen him. They say he been in the weight room every
Yeah.
single day. He been on
So
a mission to try to get stronger because that's what his problem is. It's his strength. It's his body build. It's not the
yeah, he
fact that
doesn't
he
he doesn't
just
look like a tackle.
he doesn't, and he doesn't play like one either. And then on top of that, he has a mental thing going on too, to where he's giving up. He doesn't take criticism well. It's plenty games where he just walk off the field and he ain't nothing wrong with him. He tapping out. So it's just like he got a lot to get together. But this is the NFL, and I'm sure, like I said, these young athletes like him, they ain't they get to another gear where you put them in and box them in a corner like Mozzie, for instance. Mozzie was the talk of the town last year. I'm trying to count all eyes on Mozzie. Mozzie didn't give up. Mozzie didn't give up. He got better. He didn't get good, but he got better. And he did not give up. I wouldn't be surprised this year if Mozzie beats out the rookie for a starting position. That wouldn't surprise me at all. If Mozzie is starting on the other side of Osa, I would not be surprised about that.
Well, yeah,
So
they got Mozzie penciled in unless something, but they need to sign two veteran defensive tackles to. They still need somebody to come in and still show
you know,
Mozzie how to prep for the game and how to
mhm.
get ready. So
And I'm saying
they
about
need two more
Mozzie,
guys.
my thing about Mozzie is, and shout out to Stargazer, she pointed this out. But my thing about Mozzie is that, we got to forget that, his first year that he came in here, they let Dan Quinn allowed him to try to lose weight, and try to play like he was going to be, play losing. He allowed him to lose weight when typically your one tech or three tech or whatever he is the big guys, the big run stuffing guys. But they was having him do the opposite. So last year, they decided to let him go ahead and try to put that weight back on and get big again and learn how to use his body weight. And so this is gonna be his second year comfortable in his body with his weight. And we're gonna see how he works out. He been in the gym, he been getting stronger. So we're gonna see what happens. Ain't nobody sleeping on Mozzie, but he has to be better. But what I was looking at today was all of the left tackles that are on the last year of their deal, sort of like the George Pickens deal, where he's on the last year of his deal. Some of these guys like Laramie Tunsil,
Mm.
a couple other guys
I'm gonna
like
go out for a second. Keep on. Go ahead.
yeah, so I was looking at like what would it take to get those guys in, like Laramie Tunsil or something like that, because I could see that being like a thing, like all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? They're making a trade, or all of a sudden, they're calling somebody like Jason Peters off the couch, you know what I'm saying, to come in and play tackle 50-50 swing tackle with Tyler Guyton. So there has to be all of those smart guys in that situation right now. There has to be plan B's going on all the way around, and the plan B's are not just for the wide receiver room anymore. It's not for the running backs. It's probably for left tackle. That's probably what they're looking at, and they're probably looking at plan B's for corner too, because corner is the position to keep an eye on as well. Because right now, Trayvon is coming in late. He not gonna be ready for the season. You got Shavon Ravel. He's probably gonna be limited when he comes in for the season. The only person you got penciled in is Deron Bland. He the only one that's gonna be for sure fire starter, ready to go day one. And you got what's his name? Our corner that we drafted in the second round last year. He's
Kalen
more
Carson.
Kalen Carson. He's more of a slot player. Now he
He
should be
coming off an
ready.
injury too.
He coming off an injury. You got Josh Butler. He coming. I mean, or Malcolm
Yeah, he
Butler,
ain't gonna
whatever his
be
name
ready.
is. He
Josh,
ain't gonna
yeah,
be
he not gonna
ready.
be ready.
And you got
Ayo, who I really
Ayo.
like.
Yeah, Ayo. But see, now you talking about fourth, fifth on the depth chart now. So we got
He
to look
played
at.
really good.
Now he did. He did. Now you got to give him that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he's not supposed to be our starter, and he will
Mhm.
be our starter. So, you got to look at that. You know, uh, yeah, glitz and glamour versus blue collar. You're right. You got to look at that. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at that. You probably gonna have to. With me, I'd be trying to get Stephon Gilmore up in here. That's what I would be trying to do. I'd be trying to get Stephen Gilmore up in here, and I'd be trying to get a left tackle off the couch up in here. Or I'd be trying to make a trade for one. They already did their trade thing. It really didn't cost them a lot. You know, now Terrence Steele is your right tackle. So if you're looking for your right tackle, then I mean you might as well cut him if you're gonna look for
Yeah,
your right tackle.
Terrence Steele, he gonna be okay. He actually came around. He played better the second half of the season. I'm not concerned about Steele myself.
Me neither.
But
Me
yeah, it's
neither. But
just
he does that. You know what I'm saying? He always does that. He always starts off kind of slow. You know,
so I'm
and then
looking at
he
the roster. I don't see Ao on here. So was he just like a free agent and he didn't sign back?
I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
not
Check it
seeing him.
out. Well, there you go. So we need another cornerback up in there ASAP, and you know, but so our right tackle Terrence Steele, if you cut him post June one him, you save like $15 million on the cap, but
Yeah, they're not doing that.
they're not gonna do that. They're gonna keep him. And like I said, I don't. If something ain't broke, no need to fix it. If they ended the year doing well. He did for sure. So, uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's gonna be good.
yeah, he gonna be good. Ain't no point in talking about him. He gonna be
So,
straight.
so I want to get everybody thoughts on this right here. So the Cowboys, they made that trade for
Shout out to you, Tony.
and shout out Tony. They made that trade for Jonathan Mingo, and everybody was 100% for sure that they were gonna ride this out. They really wasn't interested in any other receivers. They was just gonna have Mingo as the number two and Tolbert as a three. But they made it clear pretty early that they wanted to get a receiver, and we were seeing evidence that they was looking at multiple receivers to come in as the two.
Well,
So
see, this
what
is
is
what I
that?
want to say. To
Who's
piggyback
that?
on that. This is
He
this is
said
what I want to
Steel's
say.
garbage.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Uncle Squeak. This is what I want to say to piggyback on that. Schottenheimer ain't the type to try to gas you up like Steven and Jerry. What we're seeing is what Schottenheimer says is what's happening.
So Mingo is not his guy.
It ain't.
Because
And he said when it comes to Mingo, what Schottenheimer said was that they are looking for Mingo to step up. That's what he said. He said he looking for Mingo to step up. He said he looking for Tober to step up. He said he looking for
but at the same time, they looking for a number two,
exactly. He said we
and they
needed
got the number two.
uh-huh.
So who do you think has the first shot at the number three? Is it Mingo because of the trade, or is it Tober because Dak and Shotty like Tober?
It's definitely Tolbert. I mean, I don't think it's a competition.
Hmm.
I don't. See what you're gonna have is I think what you're gonna have is you're gonna have Tolbert playing at the third position. Now where the competition is gonna come in at, the competition is gonna come in when you have Mingo and Tolbert and what's our other guy name? Um uh
Turpin,
no, not Turpin, because Turpin, I'm just gonna talk about him next. But the other
Illinois, and
yeah,
Treshawn Holden, the
okay.
rookie.
Okay, so Trashawn Holden, Flanori, Mingo, they're gonna be splitting time behind Tolbert and splitting time behind the number two. So they'll be practicing running those routes with the number two is running and the number three is running, and they'll get in on certain plays when in certain packages when Tolbert need a breather, like for instance, like if you got 100% of plays, I say Tolbert is gonna play 60, and those other guys are gonna play 40. But it's gonna be who is that other guy gonna be? It's gonna be
It's probably
on the
gonna try
Mingo.
to get Mingo involved,
And it
but
should be because Mingo has never had a good quarterback like that, and Mingo runs a 4-4. So Mingo is
man,
supposed to
I don't
fit
know
in.
about that.
Well, that's what it says in the combine. He ran a 4-4. So that's supposed to fit in. He has the build. He has, I mean, he's an NFL receiver. He just didn't pan out like we thought he would, but
You liked him coming out of college.
I did, just like I liked a lot of these other ones coming out of college, and they really didn't do nothing either. Like the Tennessee wide receivers that the Giants got, they didn't do nothing. Just like
Scotty said it's gonna be Mingo. I
yeah,
agree. I think they're gonna give him a fair shot.
I
And
mean he
Mingo,
should get a fair shot.
he has something. We're gonna see.
Mhm.
He gonna get a chance to. He's gonna play.
Uh,
So I think you're right. They're gonna do what they can to get Mingo involved. And
mhm.
look, at the bottom line is, at the end of the day, with the NFL, with injuries and all of that, all of these guys are probably going to have to step up and play at some point. But I think Mingo, would you say he's a different kind of receiver than Tolbert?
Yeah, Tolbert is more like spectacular catch, stretch the field, outside, gonna catch the ball outside. He's a possession receiver. He's gonna catch
Mm,
the ball no matter what. You know what I mean? But he gonna stretch the field. He gonna be 30, 40 yards downfield.
not no,
Mingo,
not really not much rack from
yeah,
from
not,
Tolbert.
not much rap. Possession receiver, catch the ball, get out of bounds, catch the ball, fall down, but he gonna catch it nevertheless. But Mingo is the guy that he gonna catch the ball across the field. You give him the ball in shallow 5 or 10 yard out, 5 or 10 yard in. Give him a slant, get him across the field,
He
and when
can break tackles and do a little something with the ball.
yeah, with his body, he can break tackles. He can do a little something. He's not gonna be CD out there, but he's
Hmm.
gonna be, he's not. He's the opposite of Tolbert. Third and five. You look for Mingo. You know, if it's first and 20 or first and 10, and you want to get somebody over the top real quick. You look for Tolbert. You know what I mean? Like because those are the type of things, and the play breaks down. Dak always finds him way
Hmm.
down the field somewhere, and he makes the catch every time. When the game was on the line last year against the Steelers, he looked for Tolbert going across the field, and at the beginning of the end zone, Tolbert made the catch, and he brought it down with his
Yeah.
stroke.
Tolbert, I mean, he had what? Did he have 7 or 8 touchdowns last year?
He had 7 touchdowns and like 600 yards.
And the year before I think he may have had, the year before, Tolbert made some big catches.
That's what
I
he does.
remember.
No, that's what he does. He makes big catches. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
type of receiver that he is. He makes the big catch. He's where he's supposed to be.
And,
Uh,
and the keep it a buck, they're not going to give Tolbert the 5th year option. So this is his contract year. So Tolbert really, his whole season is going to be an audition for another contract with another team.
yeah.
So
Now, Uncle Scott said, "What about Ferguson?" Now, in my book, now on our show, this is how we think about Ferguson. We think Ferguson is one of the top tight ends in the league. I think he's like number 5 on my book. In my book, and last year he didn't have a good year because he was hurt.
I saw a list yesterday of
Hmm.
all the top players.
Hmm.
And a lot of these people, they just put out a list just for the clicks and the content. They had Ferg in the 20s.
Yeah, they just do. They just I seen the list today, and Dak was the 14th.
Yeah.
So
So, but yeah,
yeah,
Ferguson, we think Scotty, we think that he just didn't, last year Dak was hurt. I think he gonna have a bounce back year. Now, I will say this: Cowboys need a 1B tight end. They need another guy. We think we saw the guy the other night that we think is gonna have a really good shot of being a second tight end.
he's an
Uh,
undrafted free agent.
Fairweather, you want to pull that video up of him again?
Yeah.
And it's highlight tape, so you got to be kind of keep that in mind. But
But I'm looking for Ferguson to get signed.
yeah,
On the low, you'll look up and Jake Ferguson. I have a contract.
yeah, I think this will be, if they smart, they'll try to get Ferguson and Bland signed. They can get them at a good price. Just
Hmm.
get those deals done.
Hmm.
Memphis 10, appreciate you joining us. Yeah, Pickens will mouse you up. Is that at the break off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Pickens will march you and beat the brakes off. You. He
yeah.
will for sure. and
Yeah, that's
and he gonna be put in a position to do that too with Dak. He ain't never had a quarterback as good as that.
yeah. I watched the Pittsburgh when they played Washington toward the end of the season.
Oh man, that
I
was crazy.
watched the game. The Commanders, they couldn't stop Pickens. They had everybody covering him. He basically won the game for Pittsburgh. That was a game that really the Commanders could have put the game away, but they just kept Pickens kept making plays.
Yeah,
He
he's
made
one of
plays
them
all
kind
over
of
the field.
he one of them kind of players where it's just like, you can't stop him. You can try, but you really can't. He kind of like CD, kind of like AJ Brown, kind of like, he's one of them like Justin Jefferson. It's just like them kind of receivers. It's just like
So
you're not gonna stop them from doing what they do.
yeah. So if Scott is still with us, this is Fairweather. This is the undrafted free agent rookie they signed, and some of the content creators. So Brian brought us Botch Lombardi. They've been talking about this young man right here. So he's a tight end, and he's somebody that you're gonna have to keep an eye on.
Hmm.
He kind of looks like John Stevens from a couple of camps before. John
Hmm.
Stevens keep getting hurt, and they're saying that the running back from Texas, what was his name, that hurt his knee when the
Hmm.
Cowboys are looking at him.
And he hurt his knee again.
They're saying he already out for this season.
Yeah.
So that's really
I don't know
unfortunate.
why
We
you
did.
say that, Uncle Scott. Talking about come on Jefferson. Jefferson is a dog.
Come on, man, not Jefferson. Who's Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson. I said
Uh,
Justin Jefferson is one of them players where you really can't do nothing about it. He gonna do what he gonna do. He gonna catch the ball. He gonna do what he gonna do. You really can't stop him. It's
for the
not.
Vikings.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah. You have him as your number one.
yeah, I
I
do.
have Chase is my number one.
Well, they sub in and sub out. CD, and Jefferson are all tied to me. And
Yeah, I like my receivers. My number one is Chase. I got CD as two, and Jefferson is my three. You have Jefferson as your one.
the only reason why I would say you're right, we can't compare Pickens to Jefferson. They're not the same
Mm.
kind of receiver at all.
Oh no,
But
no.
what I was just saying is that they're both athletes that once they get in their bag, it ain't really much you can do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Pickens he does that too. He makes spectacular catches where it's kind of like it's kind of like it ain't nothing you can do about that. And
Yeah,
that's the
no, he's
only
not Jefferson. Definitely.
no one is. Jefferson is definitely probably the best in there. I agree too. See, Uncle Scott said CD is the best. You know, it's
I have Chase and CD is my two.
mm-hmm.
Um, and you can really go back and forth.
They
And I think CD is better than Jefferson. I do.
Yeah, look, I'm tell you, like I got second with that year. I got second 2 years ago in our fantasy thing because I had Jefferson and Chase, and I got like first I think last year because I had CD. They was killing it.
You
So
had Chase last year too, right?
no, I didn't have Chase last year. I don't
Hmm.
think. No, I had AJ Brown last year.
You did, and you had McLaurin.
Hmm. I had the NFC East really. I had McLaurin. I had McLaurin. I had a lot of people, but anyways, yeah, nah.
They
We
wa-
got us one with Pickens though.
they were showing what's his name? They
Who?
got traded to the Commanders. Debo.
Oh yeah,
He
Debo. I
he
don't
look
like,
overweight. He look overweight to me.
but he that's how he's built. That's how he look. He play overweight. You know what I
Yeah, he
mean?
look. But I think the last year he been a little too heavy.
Hey, well,
But he gonna ball though.
Jeremy said, shout out to Jeremy. Jeremy said LSU always produce great receivers, don't they? And
Hmm.
then the Bengals was super smart by drafting Joe Burrow and drafting Jamar Chase because they were buddies in college.
Yeah.
So that's dynamic. You know what I mean?
First time I saw Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, they were playing Texas
Oh
with
my,
Overshawn,
that was crazy.
and it was a shootout. The game was like 47-45.
But no, that game right there, I
And
had
Texas could
never
not, and they could not cover Jefferson and Chase.
look. That game right there, I had never. My heart was beating like I was legitimately. That's for the first time in a long time. I was scared of those
Mm,
receivers. I was just like, bro, those dudes right there. Those were
yeah.
that was the first game where I started paying attention to them. I was like, those dudes right there. they something else because they could not, they could not stop them no matter what.
And then they played Alabama later in the year. That was like the national championship game. Just you know how they do, and they
Right.
beat them, and they wasn't nobody going to beat them. And then they play. I think who did they play in the national championship game? It was kind of close.
It
Uh,
wasn't Ohio State. Was it Michigan? No, I don't know. I don't remember. That's a good question.
uh, or was it Clemson? I can't remember.
I think it was Clemson, and they didn't, and it wasn't close. But
No.
that's well, what's the name with the funny voice? That's when he was the coach.
Yeah, that was his call. That was his last. I think that was his last year.
Yeah, go
He got
Tigers.
in trouble. Yeah, he got
Yeah,
in trouble the following
right.
year. But that was a great team.
That was a great team. Those dudes right there, they both are deep threats, man. They threats all over the field. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If Justin Jefferson catch the ball 5 yards down the field, he can score, and Chase can do it for sure. Chase. That's why it's just amazing that we got one of them. Like CD is one of them. That's crazy.
Now was CD in the same draft with Chase and Jefferson?
No, Jefferson was in the same draft with CD, and then Chase came a year after they did.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Jefferson and CD were in 2020. You
Now
know,
did Chase get paid yet? Did he get his deal? I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Okay.
Him and Tyler. What's his name? His buddy. The second quarterback. The second wide receiver for the Bengals. Somebody help me out in the chat. What's his name?
T. Higgins. Yeah.
Yeah, T. Higgins. Yeah, remember they got off
Yeah.
the plane together.
Yeah.
They did
So
they
I
coach.
told you earlier. I told you earlier that Jerry and Steven, they can't say that you can't pay two receivers. Just look at the Eagles. Look at Cincinnati. It's absolutely a way you can do it. So
Look at Washington. That's the new league now. The new
yeah.
league now is you have two receivers. They call them is 1A and 1B. You
Yep.
got to have that because there's so many teams that got that, or they try to model their franchise after that. Debo just went to Washington. You know what I mean? And they already got big boy.
Yeah.
So
So give the front office credit. I mean, it's somebody they knew pretty early that they was gonna get a receiver. So the fact that they came off that Mingo thing and decided to make that move, kudos for that. So now we just need to show up the rest of the team. I
now
think
I
we
don't
need
want to
two
put them over.
veteran defensive tackles.
I don't want to just put the cart before the horse because we do got to remember now. Uh, Homeboy is on his last year, his contract. They only paying him $3 million this year. Okay, so
Who?
it's not like they George Pickens. So it's not like they went out and they got $20 million receiver for $20 million. That's not what they did. What they
Yeah.
did was they traded the third and the sixth for a $3 million quarter. For a $3 million receiver. So until they pay him, um, you know, uh, our eyes. Now the linebackers, Uncle Scott said, what about the linebackers? To me, the linebackers was the highlight of the free agency period in the offseason. The way that they redid the linebacker room, they did that. Now we've been looking for Kenneth Murray for a while. Now he wanted to play for the Cowboys. He's from this area. I think he's from down there where I think he's from Houston.
Yeah, he's from Missouri City.
He from Missouri City, so he want to be a Cowboy fan. Shout out to the Texans too. We gonna do some videos on the Texans because we Texans fans too. So,
Yeah.
but the thing about it is, because we was Oilers fans back in the day too. So,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
love our Houston.
Yeah. Kenneth Murray, you can find a lot of his tape from the last 2 years where he just looks really good, and you can find some tape where he's just constantly running through the wrong gap and just not doing anything. So he knows this is his last stop. So you're gonna get his best ball. Then you got the linebacker from Chicago, whose name escapes me at the moment.
I
It's
want to see what
It's Sanborn.
gift Uncle Scott put in the chat.
So it's Sanborn
Yeah,
and
Sanborn, but our linebackers, they gonna be good. Now, that's what I think. I think our linebackers is gonna be better than they were last year. The fact that they
yeah,
got off of what's homeboy from the LSU? Um,
Damone Clark.
the fact that they got off of Damone Clark and the fact that they just redid the room and they just said, hey, we gonna get this guy from Chicago that was with Eberflus. So he's gonna be kind of like the base guy,
Mm-hmm.
the
I'm
he's
looking
gonna be
for
like
Damone Clark to be released.
Yeah, he gonna be like the captain of the room, the one that kind of know Eberflus defense already. So he gonna be the translator. So with that, and you got Kenny Murray coming in, and you got the draft pick that we got. Our linebacker room is probably gonna look better than it's ever looked. And then you got Overshawn coming back toward the middle and end of the season.
Mm.
So
Don't want him to rush.
yeah, don't want him to rush, even though he is that type of player to where he is giving it his all to where he will be probably ready game 4. But we want him to come back later than that. But when he comes back, and the fact that the type of player that he is, he gonna be studying the whole year. He gonna come in and he gonna fit right in, and he gonna make plays as soon as he get there. But like I said, those veterans that we got in the offseason that already know Eberflus's system, and then Kenneth Murray giving it his all and playing a natural. I was watching Kenneth Murray highlights last night. I mean, some of the plays that he were making, it's just the fact that he's a veteran and he understands football. Some of those guys, it's just they know. It's like Jordan Lewis last year. Jordan Lewis is not the fastest, he's not the tallest, but he's such a veteran and he's so smart that he knows where to be, when to be. He knows body language. It's very, very hard to get past a cornerback like that. And that's how these veteran linebackers are gonna be. It's just like Sean Lee. He might not be the fastest, he might not be the strongest, but he know where to be. He can diagnose the play. Kenny Murray is like that. He gonna be where he need to be at all times. He gonna be in the backfield when he need to be in the backfield. He gonna be in the flats when he need to be in the flats. You know what I mean? He not gonna, you're not gonna have a zone coverage guy, a zone where Kenny Murray don't know the zone. So that's all you're looking for in your linebacker, and somebody that can come up and fill the hole. And the linebackers that we got this offseason.
You can pull up some video of Kenneth Murray. Hey, is it okay for you to show these videos on YouTube?
Yeah, you ask that every time.
So, and then Eberflus, we got to remember he's supposed to be like the best linebacking coach
He's
in the
supposed to be
league.
the linebacker whisperer.
Yeah, so he's going to help these guys, I think, play better. Now, my concern about our defense is our defensive line, because in this defense, you got to keep your linebackers clean. And what we saw in Rob Marinelli's scheme, which is supposedly what Eberflus is running a hybrid of that. So my concern is we don't have the defensive tackles to keep people off the linebackers, but the linebackers are physical enough to be able to,
They're
do a
real
good
linebackers.
job. Yeah. So
Like,
this,
look at this play right here. This Kenneth
yeah.
Murray play right here. That's what I'm talking about. He gonna be where he's supposed to be. See, he just
And you can see plays like this with him doing that. You can also see plays where he just had the same type of play, but he's running through there and there's just nobody there. He did that a lot. So we don't know. People are debating whether it was like the scheme or the coaching. Well,
yeah.
that's suggesting Aaron Rodgers right there.
Yeah, so this was last year. This is not old tape. This is last year.
Yeah. And
So
he was a team captain.
when I just said that, when he's supposed to be in the flats, he gonna be in the flats. He make plays like this. When he's supposed to be there, he there. It's
I didn't
not
know
like
I didn't know he was wearing 56. Is he wearing that number here?
I think so, yeah. But
You know,
yeah.
Lawrence Taylor wouldn't let what's his name get his number.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard.
Wow. Well, that doesn't surprise me. The type of guy he is.
Yeah.
But
LT is like, he ain't thinking about this dude.
yeah, but what's the name? Let Cam Ward wear his number.
Yeah, well.
You know?
LT said he ain't going out like that.
Nah, LT didn't even like the way that Micah was, how they was comparing Micah to him. He wasn't feeling that.
So when you look at Kenneth Murray on these highlight tapes, it's a highlight tape.
It's a highlight tape.
He plays when he plays good, he's balling.
Yeah, but it's just the behaviors that you want to see. Does he do the right linebacker type of things? And he does.
You want to see the traits.
Yeah, the traits.
He got that, but
show. Like, come on now. The way he just came up off that right there.
Yeah, and like you said, these are last year's highlights, but it was a lot of people in Tennessee that wasn't happy with his play.
CTE. He might have something else. He might have C, A, B, C, D, E, F, M. He might got C, N, Z.
Now
Yeah,
LT, but the thing about LT, he's been like that since day one.
yeah.
He ain't changed. So
Like in the '90s, growing up, I just didn't like him. You know what I mean?
you didn't like Lawrence Taylor?
I just felt like he was a cowboy antagonist. I just remember I just felt like I just didn't like him as a player.
Man, he was one of my favorite players.
I just couldn't get with him.
He was the first defensive player. You know, when you growing up watching football, you just really gonna always go toward the offensive side of the ball. You know, the offensive players.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor was the first defensive player. When I watched football, I was just like, this
Then he
dude
wore
right
this stupid
here.
looking earring that this earring would be hanging off and dangling. I'd be like, bro, what is this he got on?
No,
You know what I'm saying?
he was an amazing player.
No, he was a beast though, but he
so
but
that
he I don't like his personality.
so that's Kenneth Murray.
Ooh, that was good.
Uh, so he gonna have every chance to take over the defense. Then you got Sanborn. You know, you can find some clips of him.
Uncle Scott said, "Come on, Joe, how he don't like LT?"
Well, he's a Scott. This is we third generation. This is the millennial generation.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing for the. I don't got nothing for LT, man. I don't got nothing for him. I,
Mm-mm.
I mean, he was the best. He was the best at everything. But I'm just saying, I ain't like his personality. That's all I'm saying.
And that's what I like about our shows because we don't agree on everything. You know, we be having
Right.
our discussions. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely yeah.
I mean, I don't, like for instance, like you're not gonna let the premier rusher wear your number. Come on, man.
Mm,
That's crazy, man. You a giant. Come on, man. Give a young brother some love. That's crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
man. So, but anyways, shout
Now,
out.
if I had a story right, that's what I heard today. So we'll see. You probably can Google it, but that's what they were saying. He didn't wanna let him wear it.
Like I said, he wasn't even
His
feeling.
number is retired. Uh,
He wasn't feeling Micah. They were trying to compare him to Micah. He was like, I don't know about all that. I don't think so.
Bill Belichick said the same thing.
Yeah,
So
but I mean,
Bill, because LT, he's Bill Belichick's discovery.
Yeah. Now, from what I'm hearing, he made LT who
Oh
LT is.
yeah, the defense that they were playing, the 3-4, they were the first team to really perfect it and really, the Steelers played it in the 70s when they was winning, but the Giants just took it to another level, especially on the rushing part. The Steelers played the 3-4. Their middle linebackers were the big players, but in this defense, Belichick and Parcells, they basically created the edge rusher.
Hmm.
Nobody had done it like that before then.
That's why I was kind of like I was hoping that he would come in here, and I was hoping that he would make Micah a different player. You know,
Yeah.
but
So we got to see what Eberflus is going to do. So we're going to kind of wind down. So what I was chatting with today, and I can't remember if it was Outlaw or if it was your guy Nick's, is two guys that I'm really tight with on Twitter. So I was asking them, what is the Marty Schottenheimer offense? So one of them responded that they believe it is the West Coast offense, but just with his spin on it. So I thought that was interesting that they said that.
no, I don't
So,
think Micah needs to change nothing either. I
oh
was just
no,
thinking that if like it might be hard to it's hard to fathom Micah being better, but he would be better under him. I feel like, oh man, Micah doesn't need to change anything. But if a coach could make him better, that would be great.
but we do have a question about what Micah's going to look like with Eberflus. So
Yeah.
we know what Micah looked like with Dan Quinn. We know what he did with Zim. I got a question about Eberflus, what he's going to look like now. Eberflus did have what's the edge? He played for the Bears. He's at the Chargers now. I can't think of his name. So he's had some edges that made play good. So we might be okay there, but I'm real curious to see how he's going to deploy Micah.
And another thing that's got kind of got me curious is They have a lot of premier edge rushers, like the guy that we got in the second round, and they got Sam Williams and Dante Fowler. So so is Micah gonna be? How are you gonna deploy and get Micah on the field at the same time as Dante Fowler and this other edge rusher that you got? And in his defense, he runs that nickel, that 5-2 or whatever it's called, where
I
you have
think yeah, I think the answer is you just need to move Michael around.
yeah, you
And
know what I'm saying?
Zim said he wasn't
Yeah,
going to put
Khalil Mack.
yeah, Khalil Mack. He had Khalil Mack and he played well. But Zim said he was going to move Michael around. In the first part of the year, he wasn't doing that. But when he
Right.
came back, he did.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
And
best way to play him.
it's like it's almost like, but to me, it was like he only did that because Overshawn got hurt.
Hmm.
So because before that he was using Overshawn like we wanted him to use Micah.
Yeah, I don't want to see Micah at the right end, right edge, and he just sitting there. But
Not
what do
get
you think about what Outlaw said about the Shanahan offense, and that's what Shotty's going to run with his own spin?
Yeah, I mean, I was putting together a tape yesterday of all of the best plays from last year. If you just go to like Dallas Cowboys best plays in 2024, you can just look at the formations and look at the plays, and I just put those together. And then I was looking at the zone runs, and so the zone run is basically when you run off of the center, the center's left side or right side, and you have to. It's called like slow to fast. It's like when you start off slow, but you pick the zone to speed up in the cut wherever you playing off of the defense. So
Hmm.
if they run this way, and then that means that the running back is going to choose what gap to pick. So you remember last year or 2 years ago when we kept trying to figure out why they stopped doing this with Tony Pollard, handing Tony Pollard the ball and then letting him figure out where to go. Remember when they were doing that?
Hmm.
So that's the zone run. Where the lineman do the stunts, you hand the ball to him off your hip, and then he decides what hole to hit. You know what I'm saying? That's what the zone run is. So I think you're gonna have the zone run, and you're gonna have.
Is that what Arizona ran?
Yes, and they ran it the best. So if you in the other team that ran it the best was the 49ers. So if you look at the 49ers run game and you look at the Cardinals run game, those are the teams that they're gonna try to emulate. And then our offensive coordinator, he came from the Cardinals, so obviously they're gonna try to emulate that. And then that's why
Riley is the O line coach from Kansas.
and he coached Zeus and Cooper BB. So you can look at they plays, they run the zone run. So that's going to
Mm.
be easy.
He really was the best offensive line coach in college.
He really was. And then
Supposed to be, yeah.
they had a good offense too in college. And then so their passing game is going to be interesting because Shotty can get creative now because he has Pickett and I mean Pickens and he has CD. So I think the Cowboys passing game has always been good. Uh, Even with I know people don't like to hear it, but with Kellen Moore, the Cowboys passing game was good. With Schottenheimer and Mike McCarthy, the passing game was good. I mean, that especially that year where CD was All Pro first team, and we thought Jake Ferguson could be a Pro Bowler. That year right there, it was like literally like they couldn't stop CD. You knew we was going to CD, and they couldn't stop CD. You know what I mean? So I think that our passing game is gonna be good. I think our passing game is gonna be good. I feel like Shotty can get creative with George Pickens.
Hmm.
It's gonna pretty much solve itself. If you got CD on one side and you got George Pickens on the other side and you got Ferguson on the tight end, I mean, those are three legitimate weapons right there that all you got to do is have a little bit of football sense, and you can get them the ball.
Mm. Yeah. Well, excited about it. We're gonna see what Shotty got in store. He been waiting 20 years to get this job, so I think he's just kind of he's really putting together a good good plan. You can see somebody over there decided that they had to get a number two receiver. I'm sure he was, a big part of that. And so I'm looking forward to what he's going to do. Sometimes you just get lucky and hire the right coach. That's what Philadelphia did. It didn't look that way for a few years.
I said that's gonna be tough. Only if y'all keep Dak upright. We're gonna do that.
Hmm.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we
do
got
that.
to. Yeah, the line is going to be big. So we
Do not
to
sleep
get
on
the.
Tyler Booker,
Hmm.
Cooper BB, and Tyler Smith being the three guys that's in front of Dak. Because remember, we're running the zone run, and we're gonna be passing play action off of that. So if he is, Dak game and Shotty game is to get the ball out quick. We know that. That's the Dak and Shotty game is to get the ball out quick. So when they start doing that, these teams you can try to rush off the edge if you want to, but 9 times out of 10, the ball gonna be gone before you get there. Unless Tyler, uh, what's his name is just flat out just bad. But if he's average, then I don't think keeping Dak upright is gonna be a problem.
Yep. All right. Well, shoot. You ready to go ahead and wrap?
Yeah. So shout out to my Uncle Scott. Appreciate you for coming on, and we probably gonna come on tomorrow. Well, we got Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Uh,
we probably won't be on Saturday or something. We'll probably do something Monday.
Yeah, we'll probably do something Monday. So shout out to everybody that came out and enjoyed the Friday Night Live with us. I know it's late. Y'all make sure y'all be safe tonight. And again, happy Mother's Day. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And comment Happy Mother's Day. So if any ladies are watching it, they'll see it. And so we appreciate y'all for locking in with us. And like I said, it's gonna be a good year. It's gonna be a good season. So we'll see y'all on the next one. Holla.